Thank God
Peterson
for that
said
prayer.
Tell y'all, everybody hi. She's constantly praying. I'll call her and tell her to put him on her prayer list because she has a group of people that call and they pray. And she wanted to come and surprise everybody today. And you know how the enemy do when you say you want to come, then he threw something in her back and stuff started bothering her. So, but she said to tell everybody hi and she loved everybody.
Well, we're going to definitely do that, and we're certainly going to continue to encourage Julius and as well as you that the Lord will guide, and that's what you want. You want the Lord to guide you, and let you know what you need to do. Exactly.
All areas.
That's it. So we thank God for His goodness. God works in all things. I used to have a thing in my office that said, God is good even on a bad day. And I always have to try sometimes to remember that. Sometimes things don't always go the way you want them to go. And yet, we're looking at our stories here in Genesis. We're on Genesis, 36 now?
Yeah.
And look at these individuals and all the stuff that they went through that are the patriots of God, but things didn't go the way they thought it should go.
Amen.
And they trying and doing, but yet God is saying one thing. I mean, He said that verse when you were praying, God will keep you in perfect peace. How? Whose mind is stayed on me. So when you're focusing on the Lord gives you that peace.
Amen.
And that's just something that sometimes you will read it and move on, but then understand, well, what's the mechanism of that? The mechanism is, are you focusing on the Lord?
Amen.
And if you're focusing on the Lord, then He'll give you perfect peace. Now, that don't mean all the times that life is always smooth.
Amen.
Perfect peace means that you are able to ride the waves, the ups and downs, and able to maneuver and go. But when all said and done, another thing he said in the prayer, he says we all are human.
Amen.
And we got feelings and
Amen.
different things. And when you hear certain news and stuff, your emotions peak. And you feel certain ways. And that's all part of being human. But then you got to remember that you are human, but you also are spiritual.
Amen.
You're a spiritual being. And we got to remember to tap into that. And make sure that our spirit man is maneuvering and guiding and giving us the energy and the effort and the know-how to just bring it to God.
Amen.
Which is what we ultimately need to do.
Amen.
All right, so we're looking today in Genesis 36, as we had stated, and we're going to just kind of once again get some names and some quick information about family members and things of that nature. There's a lot we could say about this, about how these individuals maneuver and where they live and how they related, but that's not something I'm going to dig into too deeply, but I think it's a good chapter so you could just get a familiarity as we begin to move from the life of Jacob into the sons. And then we're going to actually kind of highlight on one of the sons, and that's going to be Joseph. And we're going to see some of the stuff that he goes through. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get our reading in. Genesis chapter 36. Let's take a listen here.
Chapter 36. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah the daughter of Anah the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemath Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Ruel, and Aholibamah bare Jeush, and Jaalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau; Ruel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Ruel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shamna, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemoth, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. And she bare to Esau Jeush, and Jaalam, and Korah. These were dukes of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the first son of Esau, Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. And these are the sons of Ruel, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Ruel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemoth, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife, Duke Jeush, Duke Jaalam, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishan. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Horai, and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these, Alvan, and Manahath, and Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules in the wilderness, as he fed the asses of Zibeon his father. And the children of Anah were these, Dishon, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdan, and Eshban, and Ithran, and Kiran. The children of Ezer are these, Bilhan, and Zeavan, and Akan. The children of Dishon are these, Uz, and Arad. These are the dukes that came of the Horites, Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anah, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Horai among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah of Bozrah, reigned in his stead. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temanai reigned in his stead. And Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Shamlah and Masrekah reigned in his stead. And Shamlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, reigned in his stead. And Baal-Hanan, the son of Achbor, died, and Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Pehu, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau according to their families, after their places by their names, Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Jetheth, Duke Aholibamah, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Mibzar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Iram. These be the dukes of Edom according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites.
All right.
Chapter 30.
So, what you see here is a whole lot of names. Now, as we had stated, there's a lot you could do here as far as digging out all these names and trying to find out where all these individuals, how they relate and connect, but you would spend a lot of time trying to do that. What I want to do, though, is just kind of highlight a few things that we're going to notice going forward that we actually are just mentioned here. All right. First of all, we're looking at the family line. This is kind of like the ancestry of who? Esau. All right. So Esau was the brother of Jacob. And remember when Esau was asking, well, do you not have a blessing for me? And he told them that, he gave them, he said, you will prosper. But the actual true blessing was given to Jacob. All right, remember when Jacob tricked him. But we see here that Esau's line, when you look at this, first of all, it says that he was dwelling in Canaan along in the area where Jacob was. Remember, they were supposed to kind of stay together, but Jacob didn't go where he said he was going to go. Then he went to another town, Shir, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and that's where Dinah got molested. And then the boys went in there and they destroyed that whole town after they convinced them to be like us and become circumcised. Well, they were dwelling in that land. And then it said that the land was not able to sustain them. We saw that in verse 6. It said because they had all the cattle. Good morning. They had all that cattle and they had the beasts. And so the land couldn't sustain them. And so they had them to kind of separate and move themselves. All right? Be careful. And so what we see here in verse 8, it says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. And then it tells us Esau is Edom. Now that's a name you want to highlight, underline, because we're going to see Edom again. Right? And keep in mind, Edom is a nation that's a brother nation to who? To Israel. Because what was Jacob's name turned to? Israel. And so it says here that Esau, the nation that his ancestors formed, was called Edom. So when we see Edom going forward, we will then know that we're talking about the descendants of who? Of Esau. All right. And then you see these names here. One of these names I'm just going to point out. If you look at verse 12, and you see that Timnah was a concubine to Eliphaz, one of Esau's sons. So this concubine, this woman, to Esau's son, they produced a child, and his name was Amalek. Now, we're going to see that name again. That individual from Esau's son and Esau's son's concubine will become a great nation. And they're going to be at war with Israel for years, to the point to where they're not going to be able to be destroyed until David comes. And David's going to say, Amalek is a problem. And what we'll see as we go through this, Amalek will always represent that stubborn sin that you just can't seem to get rid of. That thing that keeps harboring and nagging you. The issue that you seem to always have to go to God about. That's what Amalek represents. That thing that you just can't seem to totally kill completely. And so we're going to see that going forth. We're going to see Amalek some more. All right. And then it continues to talk, and it gives more and more of these different names. And like I said, I'm not going to go too much into that. But if you go all the way down to verse 31, it says, and these are the kings that reign in the land of Edom. So now it's given us a list of the kings. So we see that Edom has gotten large enough. Edom will get large enough to where they will have what? Kings. Once again, these are the descendants of Esau. All right. And then once again, it gives it some names, and it shows their various positions and how the government structure go from where they had kings and dukes and variety of different things that represent their hierarchies, their government, their structure. All right, and that's basically all I want to really kind of bring out here. There's a lot heritage-wise and name-wise and different things that we could go into, but I think that will just take too much time. And we'll see some of these individuals again anyway as we go forward. So I think we're just going to do that skim as we just did and count it done. Any comments or questions on this heritage of Esau?
Therefore, how many wives did he have?
Oh, he had several wives.
Esau?
Esau, yes.
Esau, yeah.
Yes, he had several wives. He had. So you got to keep in mind back then they had wives.
They had wives.
Remember, initially Esau married. When Esau married, he married a wife from the area that they were in.
Right.
And when Rebekah wanted to trick Isaac to kind of give him a reason to send Jacob away because she found out that Esau was going to kill Jacob,
Right.
her strategy was, well, let me tell Isaac I'm upset with Esau marrying these women from this neighborhood that we live in.
Right.
And I want him to marry somebody from where I come from. Send him away out there. But why did she really want him to be sent away?
So he didn't kill him.
So his brother wouldn't kill him.
His brother wouldn't kill him.
All right. So that's why Jacob went away and he married Rebecca and Leah.
Leah.
But then when Esau saw that, Esau said, oh, my parents are happy when we marry somebody from our descendants. So then he went to Ishmael's family. And he went and married somebody from Ishmael. I think, yeah, as a matter of fact, if you look at verse 2, it says, Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan. And it lists some names there. And then look at verse 3. And Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter. All right, you see that in verse 3? So, Esau had several wives, plus he had concubines. And so from that, you can see the lineage. All right, and it gives all of these different individuals that came from it. They developed into nations, into kingdoms, all right, and became mighty in their area. And we will see Edom again. We will see Amalek again. All right, we're going to see all these individuals, these descendants as nations pop up again.
But we have to know now, we got to let people know that all this marriage and all these wives and all this stuff, this was under the law. This is not under what we're under now.
Well, that was the custom of their day.
Right.
I mean,
So they're not allowing that today, you know. So we got to make sure we get that straight.
No, look at that man. That's what that white guy had all those wives on TV.
Yeah, but that's we're not under the law anymore. All this stuff was under God. God used to wink at the ignorance of men, but now He's calling all people to
well,
repentance.
let me correct one thing. I'm not saying that it's correct to say that this is under the law. The law hasn't even been given yet.
Right, you're right.
So what this is just how people were living. You know, the Bible says that there's a way that seemeth right in the eyes of an individual and the eyes of a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So there's a lot of things that we just think is right. We just think, well, I'm going to do this because that seems to be right. I'm going to do that but then really, okay, how does God see it? And if God doesn't tell you, like the first thing that God told Adam and Eve was, don't eat of the fruit. Okay, well, what else did He tell them? He didn't tell them nothing else. So where there is no law, there is no what? There is no sin. And so when we look at what Jesus comes, Jesus says, the law then, all the law is brought together in these phrases. Love the Lord your God with what? All your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and love your what? Your neighbor as yourself. So if you treat God right the way you're supposed to, and you treat your neighbor right the way you're supposed to, you're going to fulfill the law. All right. So that when you get married and you tell a woman that, well, you're my one and only, okay, then that's what it's supposed to be. But then when you go marry somebody else, what did you just do?
Broke that law.
You just lied what you said because she's no longer your what? Your one and only. And so you can see how that's incorporated in the law. So you're treating who right? You're treating who you're treating wrong. You told the woman that you were going to marry, you're my one and only, and then you go marry somebody else. Now that's not treating your what? Your neighbor correctly. So all of this is proper and it's right in knowing that there's things that God wants us to do. Paul told us that if you wanted to, he looked at the qualities of an elder or the qualities of a bishop or the qualities of a deacon. He said, husband of what? Of one wife. And all that is just a way of just doing things in a way that produces more opportunity to be godly. Because see, when you open up avenues, we saw what happened with Leah and Rachel. All right, and you're going to continue to see this, and we'll see. You know, we see what happened. What happened with Reuben. he went into his father's concubine.
Right.
Right? So all that is wrong. Now, God didn't strike Reuben down when he did that, because right at that point there was no law, but it was still disrespectful. Okay. So there's a lot of things that you're going to see in the Bible that the Bible tells you about, but the Bible's not telling you to do that. It's just telling you what happened.
Right.
I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you what happened. Right? And so you always got to keep
It's history.
that in mind. It is some history as well. Exactly. All right. Let's look at chapter 37 here. We're going to see if we can maneuver chapter 37 in here. This one's got a little bit length to it, but I think we might be able to get to it. Let's take a look.
36. Now these are the generations of Esau. Chapter 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them,
Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaf stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf.
And his brethren said unto him,
Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us?
And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said,
Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him, and said unto him,
What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth?
And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph,
Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them.
And he said to him,
Here am I.
And he said to him,
Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again.
So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying,
What seekest thou?
And he said,
I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks.
And the man said,
They are departed hence. For I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan.
And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said to one another,
Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams.
And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said,
Let us not kill him.
And Reuben said unto them,
Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again.
And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him, and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked. And behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren,
What profit is it if we slay our brother, and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh.
And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his clothes, And he returned unto his brethren and said,
The child is not. And I, whither shall I go?
And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said,
This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no?
And he knew it and said,
It is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces.
And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said,
For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning.
Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's, and captain of the guard.
All right. Well, look at what we got here. Right there. Family members, huh? It's amazing what sometimes what can happen when you're dealing with situations where people don't like folks for whatever reason. Now, we're going to delve into this and try to understand where did this come from? How did this start? And do we see this today a lot of times? All right. Now, there's a lot here to unpack. So I'm going to try to do as much as possible, but there is no way I'm going to exhaust this. Number one, this is a beautiful type of our Lord Jesus, because Jesus has a lot we will see here in common that we are going to see with Joseph. Because when Jesus came to his own, he came to the people of Israel, and they despised him and wanted to do what? Kill him. And so this is exactly what has happened here. So this is a foretelling, or it's a shadowing of what's going to happen even to the Messiah. So in that respect, Joseph is a messianic pre-look at some of the things that we will be able to understand that happened to our Lord. So when we look at this, we start off, it says, and Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his fathers were strangers, in the land of Canaan. Okay, this was the land that they were promised. This was promised to who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it says, and these are the generations of Jacob. All right, and so it lets us know that he has his family now living there. We just got finished dealing with the generations of Esau. Now we're looking at Jacob. All right, and we're going to get more detail though with Jacob. Starting out here, and the first thing it points out is Joseph. Joseph being 17 years old. Well, he's a what? He's a teenager. All right, and he was feeding the flock of his brethren. In the land was the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zipporah. Now these were the two what? Concubines. Remember the concubines? All right. So those were his brothers, but the brothers, they were really his what? His half brothers. All right. His father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now pause there, because you can read right past that. What did Joseph do?
Brought a bad report.
He brought the report, letting the father know that your sons, by these wives that you have, they're doing all kinds of bad things. Then you say, well, what kind of bad things? Well, I have no idea, because it doesn't say. But one thing we can point out, remember Simeon and Levi? What they did to that town when they molested their sister? They went in there and said, "Oh yeah, they lied. We're gonna join you, and we're gonna be part of you. But you just got to be circumcised." And then when they were circumcised, after that third day, they went in there what? Killed everybody. And Joseph was like, "Why did you?" Not Joseph. I'm sorry. Jacob was like, "Why did you do that? People are gonna, hate us." And so he was always kind of worried about him getting into some kind of what? Struggle. All right. So whatever the report was, Joseph is bringing this report. So when somebody's a tattletale, how do you feel about it?
You gotta watch the one that's bringing you the bad news.
It depends on what they bring you.
Yeah, you're looking at it and you're like, oh man. So you start feeling a little, you feel a little odd around the person. So that ain't gonna make you feel all kind of chummy and lovey-dovey, because you're like, well, we gotta watch what we do around Jacob, because he's gonna go back and tell dad, type of thing. All right, so keep that in mind. It says, now Israel loved Joseph more than all the other children because he was the son of his old age. All right, and he made him a coat of many colors. Wow, okay, so now, how is that going to make all the other children feel? We know that Jacob cared for Rachel and the children that she bare. Remember when he was getting ready to meet Esau, and he was sending the kids out, the troops out. First he sent the kids with the concubines to meet Esau. Just in case Esau decided to slaughter somebody, y'all the ones going to get slaughtered first. Now you the child, you're not dumb. You know what's going on. He's sending us out there because if anybody going to get killed, we the ones that are going to get killed. And then the next in line was what? Leah. And last of all was Rachel and Joseph. Well, so Joseph obviously, and right now we just feel, it's just blatantly stated, Joseph was his what? His favorite. How does that make all the brothers feel? So sometimes we sit here and we read this and we just think, why are these brothers picking on Joseph? Let's make sure we get some of the backstory so you understand, yeah, there's some history to this. And there's some problems that were exacerbated by the father. He put that kind of thing between the kids by always favoring who? Joseph. All right. And then turn out, when it came time to get the nice clothes, Joseph got the coat of what? Many colors. Some translations might say the coat of long sleeves, and so it's debatable as to what that actually meant. Did it have long sleeves or many colors? I just say it was a coat of many colors with long sleeves.
Okay.
All right, we'll just go with that. All right, and so in verse 4 it says that his brethren saw that the father loved him more than all his other brethren, and they what? They hated him. All right, so now he's hated by what? The brothers and the sisters. Okay, look at verse 5. Joseph dreamed a dream and told the brethren, and they hated him yet the more. Why? Well, look at the dream. He said, I had a dream, and in my dream, we were binding sheaves, and my sheaves rose up. This is in verse 7. And stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood round about and made obeisance to my sheaves. So basically, I had a dream where you guys were around about me and y'all were bowing down to me. And so, look at verse 8. And his brothers said unto him, shall thou indeed reign over us? Or shall thou have dominion over us? And look at this. And they hated him yet the more. So the hatred's getting what?
More.
It's getting worse. They hated him the more for his dreams and for his words. Now, did Joseph make this dream up? No, this was what happened. But see, when God's getting ready to use you, a lot of times, you have to be careful. Now, I'm not saying that just because God is using Joseph, that everything that Joseph and Jacob is doing here is right. God can use you even though you're kind of stirring up things wrong. Maybe Joseph, because God showed Joseph that dream, but we don't see nowhere here where it said, now, I'm going to show you this dream, and I want you to go tell everybody.
Right.
Because see, some things you need to keep what?
To yourself.
To yourself. You don't have to tell everybody everything. You know, God told me that I was going to do well and you weren't going to do well. Well, that may be something, I'm going to keep that, but I'm also going to pray for the other person. Right. Lord, help them, And rather than tell, well, you ain't going to do well. Nobody wants to hear that. All right? So, could Jacob and Joseph have handled it differently? Of course they could have. All right? So, in verse 9 it says, and he dreamed yet another dream. Well, God gave him another dream. And his brothers behold, and he told the dream. He said, I dreamed a dream more. And he said, behold, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. So here he is telling again. And his father rebuked him. So now his father said, you need to stop telling us all these dreams. Stop it. And he told him, he said, because it's obvious what these dreams mean. And he said to him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother, but keeping in mind, Joseph's true mother is what? Already dead. Because she died giving birth to who? Benjamin. So you look at the concubine women that we talked about in verse 2 that he's referring to, or even Leah. All right, when it says mother. But either way, it says, shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? So he's like, is that what's going to happen? Because they obviously were very clear as to what the dreams meant. And look at verse 11. And his brethren envied him, and but his father observed the saying. So all the brothers did was just, well, I'm just envying him because somehow or another he seems to always get the favor. Now they already know that he has favor from the Father. But what he also has is favor from the ultimate Father. Right? And so God's going to use him to deliver them from all kinds of issues that we will see going forward. All right? So what we see then in verse 12, it says that the brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. Remember Shechem? Mm-hmm. Now they're going back to Shechem, right? And Israel said to Joseph, do not thy brothers feed the flock in Shechem? Come and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, here am I. So he's like, I'm ready to go. And he said, you go down and see whether they're doing well. So basically he's going down there. Now, when the brothers see him, what is Joseph's trait? What is his tendency?
Dream.
He's a dreamer, but then he also is a what? Tattletale. So basically, Joseph is saying, Jacob is saying, go down there, Joseph, see how they're doing. Come back and what? And tell me. See, that ain't a good thing. They already, they're already upset with him. You're going to send them down there to do some more telling? But, like I said, just because you serving God don't mean you're always making the what? Right decisions. Because we are all human beings, and sometimes we just, you shouldn't have done that. You ever say something and that just as soon as you say it, you say, I should not have said that. You just like, man,
yes, Lord.
You do something, go, I shouldn't have done that.
Messed up.
And that's how we can be. All right. So it tells us that the brothers are down there. They're doing their thing, feeding the flock and everything. And they're down in Dothan. Joseph was trying to look for him in Shechem, and he says he sees a man. The man says, "No, they're not here. They went to Dothan." So in verse 18 it says, "And when when Joseph went down there to go, and he found them there." Look at verse 18. "And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to what? To slay him." All right. Now, therein is, before the actual contact happened, they already have a conspiracy to kill him. Now, the spirit that we see here is the spirit of who? Satan. Because see, Satan already is looking and seeing you in the spirit and seeing where you are, but also see where you're what? Where you're going. See, he can see that in the spirit. Why? Because Satan is a spiritual being. He's not locked into the natural. So he's looking at things spiritually, which is what God tells us to do. We should not look at things naturally, but we should look at things spiritually. We walk by faith, not by sight. So they see Joseph away off. And already they're trying to do what? Kill him. Same thing the devil tries to do to us. I see afar off. I'm already got my plans on killing you. Now, the thing about it, are these brothers playing around? No. Are they joking?
No.
They're going to take him out. Right? That's what they want to do. All right, so look at this. And they said one to another, "Behold, this dreamer cometh." Look at what they call him. Now they're teasing him about what he is. They're teasing him about his God-given what? Gift. God gave him the dreams. So they're going to make him feel bad. They're going to tease him. Here come this dreamer. That's okay. You can call me what you want. God gave me that. Okay. Verse 20. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him. So they say it again. Let's kill him. And cast him into some pit. We're going to throw him in the pit. And we'll say some evil beast has devoured him. Well, what evil beast is here? They are the what? Evil beast. You see, they're describing themselves. You're the evil beast. You're going to do something like that? You're that evil beast. All right? And we shall see what will become of his dreams. So in a sense, they're trying to say, those dreams he had, we're going to make sure they don't happen because we're going to kill him. And then we know the dreams can't happen.
Right.
Well, see, that's the problem. You can't stop God.
Amen.
God gave Joseph those dreams.
Amen.
And so they're trying to stop him from happening. And a lot of times people try to stop what God has promised you. They're going to try. But if God gave, I don't care what they try to do. If God has it for you, that is going to happen.
That's right.
All right. And so, but, well, just kind of fast forward a little bit. Yes, the brothers and the father will bow down to Joseph. But look at what Joseph is going to have to go through first before that. All right. So first, right now, he's in the heart and mind of his brothers. He's a dead man because they're going to kill him. But then one of the guys speak up, the oldest individual, Reuben. Look at verse 21. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. All right, so Reuben doesn't want to kill him. Reuben says unto them, shed no blood, all right, but cast him into this pit and into the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him. So they're just saying, why don't we just throw him into the pit, and we'll see if he dies or not. But we don't want to be the ones to kill him. Let him starve or let something else happen to him. But Reuben is just saying that because later on, what Reuben wants to do is when they leave, he wants to double back and help them out. And say, you're going home, go back to dad, because so Reuben, for whatever reason, he don't want to kill him. Now, so Reuben's got a couple of things going on. Number one, who was the one that went into the father's concubine? Reuben. But now who's the one that's trying to save the son? Reuben. So he's got some good and some issues going on. But don't we have the same thing? All right. All right. So Reuben was going to come back and bring him out. Look at verse 23. It says, and it came to pass when Joseph was come unto his brethren that they stripped Joseph of his coat. All right. So remember when Jesus was being crucified, they stripped him of his garment. All right. So they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was upon him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. So they did what Reuben said. They cast him into a pit. All right. But then look at what happened. Look at verse 25. And then they sat down to eat. Now, you could read right past that. But let's pause there for a second. They threw their brother into a pit. Do you think he's in the pit just sitting there just going, oh, okay, I'm in the pit? He's probably doing what? Help. Come on, guys. Yeah. Now, when we see later, they're going to say, we heard his cries. We don't hear it here. But when they go to Egypt and when they don't recognize that Joseph is the second to Pharaoh, they're going to say, didn't we just ignore his cries and we didn't do anything? And they're going to confess that. So we can interject here, when it says they sat down to eat bread, while Joseph is in the pit, this is probably where he's crying, come on, guys, he's like, why are you doing this to me? And they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of who? Ishmaelites. Who's Ishmael? That's whose brother? Ishmael is the brother of who? Isaac. And so now, because remember, Abraham, remember Sarah, when her and Abraham couldn't have no children, and Sarah's like, well, I'm going to find out what the issue is here. I'm going to send this concubine in there, and we're going to see what happens. And she did get pregnant, and she produced a child, and that child was named Ishmael. So now here's some descendants of Ishmael coming along. All right, and Cain, and they were on their camels and bearing spices and balms and myrrh, and they're on their way to Egypt. They're doing what? They're doing some trade. We're going to bring some stuff to Egypt, and we're going to get some stuff back. And so look at verse 26. Now, one of the other brothers speak up. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hands be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And the brethren were content. So now, who's speaking up again? Judah. And Judah is saying, let's sell him out to Egypt. Now, once again, when we talk about Judah, and we could just say this, when we talk about which one of these children actually will be the line in which the Messiah comes from, we know that the Messiah comes from what line? Judah. He is the lion of the tribe of Judah. So Judah is that. So now Judah's suggestion is, let's sell him into the hands of the enemy. In other words, let's give him to the enemy. All right. And you look at that and you go, well, here's something that we can see, well, obviously God allowed. Because when God put Adam and Eve into the what? Garden, he also allowed what? Satan to go in there. So even though it looks like it's bad, there's something that's going to come out of it. Because if Joseph doesn't get to where? To Egypt. He can't become second in line. So prophetically, what Judah is doing is entirely entwined in the will of God, even though it looks bad. And so there's a saying that Joseph is going to say, though you did it for evil, God meant it for good. So what Joseph is saying, when we get to that, you didn't know when you were doing this thing which you thought was evil, it was part of what you were doing right now. When Judah makes that statement, he is now starting the ball rolling to fulfill the dreams that God had given him, because he's getting ready to go down to Egypt. But see, you would think, well, if God says, I'm going to make you the second in command over Egypt, he didn't tell him directly, but he knew he was going to have some kind of rulership. That he was going to go down there and he was going to do something wonderful, and the people were going to just love him. And no, you're going down as a slave, dude. So we sometimes we wonder and we look and you say, well, God, where are you when people are being oppressed? And as African American people in America, say, well, where was God? Well, I need you to go down here to experience this so I can bring you here. And a lot of times you say, well, I don't understand the rhyme or the reason for why that has to happen. And I will say this to you. Me too. I don't get it either. But that's why God, there's the scripture, God works in what? Mysterious ways. I can't figure out God. Because see, if I could explain to you why God did everything he did, that would mean that me and God see things the same. Right. And that can never be. So there are always going to be things that God does is always going to be what? Confusing to me. Which is why the Bible doesn't say it says that without complete knowledge of all things God can do, you can't please him. It doesn't say that. It says without faith. So therefore, why do I have to have faith in God? Because you never can totally what? Understand God. So then how do I relate to God? You have to relate to him by faith. Do not try to match your intellect with his intellect, because you're going to get confused and you're going to get defeated and you're going to get tricked. Because the enemy's going to come in with something slick and smart and sounds good and wonderful and all intelligent and everything, and it ain't God. Because see, only God will say, well, no, I'm going to get you to the top by putting you in the bottom.
And that's more.
I'm going to make things worse before I make things what? Better.
But all his people that he raised up, look at Moses. Prime example.
Yeah. And we're going, when we get to that, you see, Moses had to hit born, thrown into the Nile, brought out by the daughter, raised up, and then, but we're gonna, well, let's stick with Joseph. I get to Moses, and we
gotta finish.
we gotta get to Joseph. Let's stick with Joseph. So he sells him out, and now he's on his way to where? To Egypt. And look at verse 26. And Judah said, "What to his brother? What profit is it if we slay our brother?" Okay, we read that. So he sold him to the Ishmaelites. 27, 28. And it came to pass, and says, then they passed by Midian merchants. So there were Midian merchants there, and so now, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit. So the Ishmaelites and the Midian merchants must have been traveling where? Together. All right, and we're going to see Midian's name again. So something else we can keep in mind. It says, and they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for what? 20 pieces of silver. How much was Jesus sold for? 30 pieces.
30 pieces.
All right. And they brought Joseph to Egypt. So now Joseph was where? In Egypt. Brought there as a what? As a slave. All right. Look at 29. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. So Reuben's plan to set his brother free is what? Not happening. So Reuben was thinking, I'm going to get him, I'm going to set him free. No, God's going to set him free. All right. 30. And he returned to his brethren and said, the child is not, and whither shall we go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid, and they killed a goat, not a kid like a child, but they killed a goat, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it unto their father, and said, this have we found, now whether it is thy son's coat or not. So they said, look, we found this coat, it's got this blood on it. Was this Joseph's coat or not? So what are they trying to do? Make it look like what? Murder. He got attacked by some kind of animal or something.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. And look at 33. And he knew it. This is Jacob. He knew it. And said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast. We already identified who the evil beast was. Okay. Has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. So now, as far as Jacob is concerned, Joseph is what?
Dead.
He's dead. All right. He died. When Jesus takes on our sins, and on the cross, and the Father turned his back on Jesus, what happened to Jesus?
He died.
He died. He gave up the ghost and he died. Okay. But as far as the Joseph's father is concerned right now, my son is dead. Now the brothers know the truth. They know they got extra money, and they know what's going on. Now, look at these individuals. Remember what Simeon and Levi did in what? In Shechem. Killed all them people. Now look at all these circumstances now with their own brother.
Brothers.
All right. And so 34, Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. and all the sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, "For I will go down to the grave until my son's mourning." Thus his father wept for him. All right, so now Jacob is done. He's like, his mother is gone. Joseph is gone. What's the only thing he's got left from the woman that he truly loved? That son that was born to him, that when he was born, Rachel died. That's who? Benjamin. That's all he's got left of that. And that's going to play a big role in the rest of this story as we go forward. And we got to keep that in mind. All right, so all that's left is, as far as Jacob is concerned, is Benjamin from Rachel. But look at 36, our final verse here. And it says, "And the Midianites sold him unto Pharaoh." Now, keeping in mind that initially he was sold to the Ishmaelites. The Ishmaelites took him and sold him to the Midianites. And the Midianites sold him to where? To Egypt, under Potiphar, the officer of Pharaoh, a captain of the guards. So Potiphar is the one that is over all the guards. Anyone that needs to guard. If you need to guard the palace, you need to guard the jail, whatever you need to guard, Potiphar is the one that's over it. So Potiphar is one that knows how to protect. Okay? You got something that needs to be guarded? I'm the guy. I'm the one that needs to do it. I find it interesting that Joseph is being put in the hands of someone that knows how to protect. It's just something just to throw out there. And you can kind of keep it in mind. So, as we end this chapter here, we see what's going on. Hatred and envy can make you do a lot of things.
Amen.
When you got issues with family members, for whatever reason, who's going to creep in?
The enemy.
The enemy. The devil's going to creep right on in and get you to think, feel, and act way out of character. But here's the thing. The person that you are upset with, the person that you feel that person is getting too much, that person is getting... Do you think your attitude is going to stop God?
No.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, you may end up being the very tool that God's going to what? Use to make sure that what God has for that person. So being an enemy of a child of God is never going to be advantageous to you. What you need to do, if you got a problem with somebody that loves the Lord, you just need to leave them alone. Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Because you are not going to do well. And so we're stopping here and we're looking. We saw that Joseph had his dreams. His dream said that he was going to be at a stage where he's going to be honored. But right now, he's a slave that's been sold twice. Really 3 times. Sold by the sons, sold by the Ishmaelites, and sold by the Midianites. All right, so I mean, you're just being passed down. And now he's sitting there. So next week, we're going to see how things work out for him while he's in Egypt. And we'll get a chance to see what happens, what kind of situation happens between him and Potiphar. And then also, Potiphar's who?
His wife.
Potiphar's wife. So Joseph's going to have an opportunity to kind of have a little bit for himself. But we're going to see how he handles that. All right, any comments or questions?